Hi everyone, welcome to this video. My name's Dave and I'm one of the tutors for SoundLab. Now SoundLab's an amazing charity that does all kinds of music lessons for anyone for free, and it's great to work with them. Now in this video today, I'm going to give you an introduction to Ableton Live and find out why it's a great piece of software for you to make tunes on, make beats on of all different kinds of genres. And today we're giving you a good introduction to this software with hopefully more videos to come with more detail. Let's check it out. So you might be thinking, Dave, what is Ableton Live? Well, Ableton Live is a piece of software, or an app you might say, that's used to make music, and it's amazing. You can start off with absolutely nothing, and then by the end of it, have a professional tune that's ready for release. And so many music producers around the world are using it at all different levels, making tunes in studios, making tunes in their bedroom. It's a brilliant piece of software. Now, this kind of software for making music has a special name. We call it a digital audio workstation, DAW or DAW, as most people say. So why Ableton Live? Because there are some other DAWs that's good to know about. For example, if you have a MacBook or anything by Apple, they have their own special DAW called Logic that's used for making music. And in the industry, it tends to be film composers who write for media and TV. They tend to use it because it syncs up really good with video and has some cool classical sounding instruments, but it can do other things as well. You might have heard of Pro Tools as well. That's another DAW. It's mainly used in actual recording studios with huge desks that you might have seen pictures of, and it works well in that situation. But for us at home, the DAW of choice has got to be Ableton, because you can take ideas from literally the start, one little loop, and build it into a whole song with loads of creative tools, loads of quick ways, and an easy workflow for getting into making music from scratch. So that's why it's one of the choices for people who produce hip hop, trap, dubstep, techno, electronica, ambient music, pop music as well, because it's quite electronic, favors Ableton. So that's one of the reasons I'm going to be teaching you that as your main DAW. Now you might be thinking, Dave, that sounds cool, but where did I get Ableton? Hope it's not too expensive. Well, the good news is Ableton have just released a 3-month free trial of it on their website, which I'll link down below. So check that out, get your 3-month free trial. If you're a student or in education, there's ways of getting discounts on the full version once your trial elapses as well. So check that out, but a 3-month trial is going to be good enough for you to get started making some beats. Let's get into it. Everyone, in a few minutes, you're going to see me using these, some headphones. I'll be putting them on and delivering you a little bit of information. I'll be down in the corner and you'll see Ableton on the screen like that soon, so check that out. Now the reason you got headphones is they sound a little bit better than laptop speakers, so that's quite nice if you got them. Don't worry if you don't. You might have the kind of in-ear headphones as well. That's fine, use them if you want to. You just plug them into your laptop like that. But I would advise just watch your volume levels when you're on these, because if you're making beats for hours and hours, it's easier to keep cranking up the volume like that. I've done it, everyone's done it. But as soon as your ears start getting tired and hot, you'll take regular breaks from them. You want to look after your ears. What's nice is if some people at home have got a Bluetooth speaker or some sort of speakers like this, or a hi-fi, if you get an aux cord, you can connect your laptop to that. That's a good way of hearing all the detail in your music, but not as risky for your ears. So yeah, watch over your headphones. They're great to have. Watch the volume on them. If you don't have them and you don't have speakers, don't worry. Do it for your laptop speakers to start with, and that'll work fine as well. So just start with what you've got, yeah, and hope you enjoy it. So everyone, now you've got your download from the Ableton website. Hopefully you've unzipped it, went through the installation process, and that's it landed in your computer, ready to go for your 3-month free trial, which is awesome. So when you open up, it should look a little something like this, all right? So whoa, it looks a bit technical, a bit crazy. Yours might be black, might be gray. It depends on what they call the skin color, which you can change in the preferences. I might show you later, but it's going to look a little something like this. So what I'll do is I'll take it step by step, show you how to navigate through everything, and then hopefully you'll have more of a feel for it and what goes where, and I'll give you some examples of things as we go around too. Now, one of the first things I want to mention that's special in Ableton is it's got two different views, the session view and the arrangement view. Now the session view here, I'll hover over it with my mouse, check it out. It's got different MIDI tracks, 1, 2, 3, 4 audio tracks. It's got a lot of options on these tracks here as well. You've also got some other tracks here I'm going to go into, and in general, that is your session view, and things are vertical like that. That's what we call the session view, okay? And it's quite special, and I'll show you why soon. Now, if you come over here and click this little button with the bars that are kind of horizontal like that, if you click that, boom, that takes you into the arrangement view right here. And if you've ever used computers for making music before, like in Pro Tools, Cakewalk, Logic, GarageBand, this view will look more familiar, how you've got the lines going along like that. The line going from side to side represents time, and up and down is all your tracks of music or instruments. And I'll get a bit more into that later. But I want to start off by looking at session view more, because it's actually one of Ableton's key features. Now, when you're in session view, you might have opened up and not had this bit to the side here, this panel here, you might not have had some stuff. So if you've not seen that, there's these handy little arrows everywhere that you can use to unfold panels. So you can see I've got a little arrow right there on the top left. If I click that, it makes that go away, like, if I click it again, it comes back. That's called your browser pane here. So it's good to use your browser pane quite a lot. Your browser pane's important because it's where you've got your instruments, and let's have a look at it and see exactly what it's got. So when you're going down, you've got a favorites option with the red dot. Now, I don't have any favorites loaded in there, but it gives you the option of loading in your favorite sounds and color coding it, which you can get into later. If you go down, it's got lots of different sounds you can choose from, like ambient, bass, brass effects. It's got drums you can choose from as well. It's got instruments, and these instruments are kind of like synthesizers or samplers that'll help you make music, and we'll run through them later on. It's got audio effects, so once you get going, you can add effects to things. MIDI effects, which I'll explain a bit more later, and maybe in a later video. It's got Max for Live, which is a special tool for customizing things. You've also got plugins. Now these are like instruments, like synthesizers or drum machines or effects that you've got from somewhere else, usually off the internet. You can get them for free, you can pay for them, and they are your own custom library of ones you've chosen that don't actually come with Ableton, but you can get some free ones, you can get some paid ones. I'll show you where to find them later. And the whole down here, if I go further down, you've got user library, my own samples, Ableton, that's my own folder of samples I've got, and a whole host of folders you can scroll through. So in your browser pane, to the left-hand side, that's where you're going to find most of the things you want. And remember, your arrows there can unfold it and fold it out. I'm going to fold it away because I want to show you a little bit about the transport bar along the top here. So I'll hover my mouse over it here. Now these icons will look familiar to anyone that's used a music device ever. Of course, you've got your play button, your square is your stop button, and the record button is the round circle like that as well. You've also got a little clip record button here, and this numbers tell you where you are in your timeline as well, your beats and bars. Yeah, the other functions I'll go into a bit more detail later, but what you need to know now is your play, stop, record, and also the clip record, which I'll find out more about clips later on. Now, it's time to show you some examples of what we can do here. So I'm going to fold out the browser button by clicking that arrow button there. So I've got my browser ready to rock, and we're going to find out a little bit about MIDI channels. Now, MIDI channels are where your instruments live in Ableton. So you can't load sounds into them. You can't load a recording or a sample of someone's voice into them. They're where your instruments live. So if I want to show you how it works, I'll click instruments here. I'm going to open up operator, which is one of the cool instruments we've got. And you can see how you got a choice of all these ready-made ones here, like pads and all that kind of thing, bass as well. So let's load in a bass one. Everyone loves a little bit of bass. Let's load that in there. So what we go for, sneaky bass. If you click it, you can see it gives you a little preview. Click it again. There you go. If I scroll down using the arrows on my keyboard, get previews of different ones there as well, which is kind of cool. Optimo time. Whoa, it's like a total wobble. Tough electro. Oh, that's pretty cool. But I quite like sneaky bass. I'm gonna go with that one to start with. So what I do is I drag that into the MIDI channel, this vertical column here, the MIDI channel. That's gonna be its home, that vertical column. Drag it in there, okay? And I'll hover over, release, and it says sneaky bass. And also down the bottom, you can see the actual instrument itself, which is a bit of a, looks like a complicated thing. It's a synthesizer. And later on, we'll do a video explaining how these synthesizers work so you can get right into playing with them. But presets are the best way to start with. Now, how do I get sounds from this? How do I get sounds from this? Well, a good way is to go to options. Make sure your computer MIDI keyboard is switched to on. Okay, if I click it here, that's it, ready to rock. And on my keyboard, on your actual computer, using A, W, you can press buttons and it should make sounds if you click that button here. Now this button my mouse is over, this is called the arm button. That makes it ready to go when it's red, and you can go. And I'm using my computer controller, computer keyboard to control that. So Z and X make it go higher or lower on your keyboard. So Z makes it go lower, X makes it go higher. And if you press the buttons, you can kind of get notes going on, which is kind of cool. So how did I make that into a little bass loop though? Well, we'll go over it in more detail in other videos, but I'm just going to click here. I'm going to add a clip into this channel here. So a clip is where your information lives. It tells that instrument what to do, what notes to play. And when I double click it, this panel opens, you can see it, and it's got down your left hand side, all where your notes are going to be down here. And also along the top here, you're also got the time. So I want to play some notes in and I want to hear what they sound like. So I'll click this little button here, the blue headphones. That's it, ready to go. And also I'm going to press B on my computer, B, and it brings up this little pen. Can you see that, the wee pen? It means you can start drawing in the notes. So I'm going to start with 3 notes, just using C, C, let's add a G, C and G quite often go together. And then maybe a D sharp 1, let's try that. Then a C, keep it simple, okay? So drawing them in, you heard what it sounded like. Why is it not doing anything? Well, you want it to loop and play. So you go to your little clip, see it there? In the sneaky bass, hit play. Not my best loop ever, but you get the idea. So we got a little bass going anyway, just a little example for you guys. And I'll let that run a little bit there so you can hear it going on. So I'm going to use the stop button to stop it. See it stopped there. And that is a little bit about MIDI channels. They're used for instruments, and that's a little quick demonstration how you can draw in notes in a loop. I'll give you more details later on a video later on showing you a bit more about that. So everyone, we just saw a little bit about MIDI channels and MIDI clips. What about these other channels? You've got 3 and 4, you can see in there, the audio channels, okay? So they don't have instruments in them. That's where your audio actually lives. So for examples of audio, that can be like a clip of music, a clip of a bass line, a little clip of a human voice singing something, or anything like that. So I'm going to find a little drum loop and put it in there. So if I click the arrow, opens up my browser. I'm going to go to my custom library here and just find any old drum loops. You can see drum loops there. Just get maybe some house drum loops, see what we've got. Maybe, no, some vinyl breaks are always fun. Just get some of these, click it, can preview it. It's okay. Oh yeah, a bit of funky one, get a funky one. So what I can do is drag that into audio there. Okay, and now it's got the name of that loop and we've loaded that into the audio channel. Now, if I click play on that, it'll also play the MIDI clip that's there too. It's got a green light, so it's ready to go, and they should be exactly in time. So you can see the audio channel's running. You've also got the sneaky bass running, and that is how you've got MIDI channels and audio channels. So now you know a little bit about the MIDI channels and the audio channels. How do these channels actually work? What do the buttons do? What do the sliders do? Well, you can see the sliders on them with the green there. These ones actually control the volume of it. And you never want them in the red or yellow little bit there. You want to try and keep them always a little bit below that. So I'm going to bring this one down to, like, I'll move it too quiet. Bring it up a little bit. So you always want the number, you can see here, that represents how loud it is, below 0. Because if it goes above 0, it starts to distort and doesn't sound that nice. You'll see your channel go a little bit red as well. So always keep them below 0 for good levels. So that is your channel volume fader. Also, on your channels, you've got this circle here. Can you see that little circle there? There's one there too. That's called the pan circle, the pan control, and it can actually send your audio all the way to one side or all the way to the other side like that. So I'll give you an example, okay? I'm going to send the bass to one side and send the drums all the way to the other side like that. It might sound a little bit weird. Bring back the drums to the middle and bring back the bass to the middle as well. To be honest, normally drums and bass sit kind of in the middle anyway, but as long as you know that's what those circles do, you can start playing around with them. Now, another thing you'll find on your channels, on your MIDI channels, on your audio channels, is the yellow button with the number. So 1, 2, 3, and that is your mute on off. So let's check it out. Mute. Nothing, both muted. Unmute the drums. Unmute sneaky bass. Boom, there you go. That's what you need to know about them. As well as your mute buttons, you've also got solo buttons. So a solo is when one thing takes center stage and everything else is quieting down, made silent. So if you hit this, the little S there, all you're hearing is the bass. That's your solo. There you go. Press it on the drum channel. There you go. And that's how your solo buttons work. Now, another thing that's good to know, a control that you need to know in Ableton, is the very top left-hand side of your screen. You've got your tempo control here. So it's number 120 each now, 120 beats per minute, boom, boom, boom. So if we want to make it, we can slow it down. What you can do is click your mouse and drag down. Oh yeah, super slow. Now, one of the cool things about Ableton is it'll keep the correct pitch of all your audio and all your MIDI, no matter what the speed, it can match it. Whereas, you know, if you've ever played around with a record and tried to speed it up, the voices will get a little bit, or just slow it down against that. Whereas this won't do that. The drums, if I solo them, okay, and bring it down, they slow down, but the pitch doesn't change, and that's called warping. It's a special thing about Ableton. Other software does it now, but Ableton invented it and does it the best. Now you can see I've added an extra pink clip in the sneaky bass down there, and I've added a new drum loop in the same drum channel just down there. And I've done that because I want to show you scenes in Ableton. So that every sort of horizontal line you can see here is called a scene. And you can use them to build up sections of a song. So section 1 of the song might go like this. Hit the play button here. And then if we go down here, hit the other play button, it'll change. And when you hit the play button, it does do it in time. So you don't have to do it exactly in time. It kind of syncs it for you, which is nice. So you can actually fill up all these scenes with different sounds, different loops. Well, I'll give you an example. I'll bring another one down here. Let's get another drum beat in. Maybe try again. Different drums. Different drums, same bass. Different bass, different drums. Then I'll hit stop. big stop button. Another stop button that's good to know as well is the stop all clips, because you can see it's actually still got a little green arrow there. It's still sort of going, and that can be annoying. So there's a little button here down there called stop all clips. Boom, hit that, and it stops all the clips that are running as well. So if you want to just play the drum beat, you can hit play and it's going. Also, in any empty slot, you can hit the square, it'll stop it. So everyone, I hope you enjoyed this little introduction to Ableton Live from SoundLab. My name's Dave. Hopefully you can tune into the SoundLab channel. Remember to hit subscribe, hit the like button, hit the bell button. You'll get notifications when there's other videos on the channel teaching you all kinds of music production. And my plan is to have some more videos for you, getting more in depth into Ableton, starting off with beat making, adding bass, doing melodies, and hopefully by the end of it you'll have a whole song of your own, maybe a whole album of your own if you really stick with it. So looking forward to that. Enjoy your music making and see you soon.